All right, here we go. Hey there, everybody. Welcome back. We are making a few changes, so we don't have a video up because technical things, and we're going to try and figure that out. But, yeah, welcome back to our weekly comic review. We are here to kind of roll through all of the different comics that we're reading in the Marvel Universe and give y'all a quick synopsis. So, as always, I'm Matt. And today we have Devin. Say hi, Devin.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
And we have Kelly.
Hello!
Travis was unable to join us because he had to work, and he didn't realize he was scheduled until a moment or two. He didn't realize he was scheduled until a moment or two before the stream. So he'll be back next time, and he'll probably cover. You know how we do. We'll cover the old books, but we'll cover them next week. So, yeah, that's where we are. How's everybody doing this week?
Oh man, doing all right, man. Some pretty exciting stuff actually in the Marvel universe is going on. It's gonna be fun to talk about.
Yeah, I think a lot of my stories are like finally hitting their stride. So like not exciting, but like they're coming into their own, because all of my titles, all the X-Men titles, are still in like early issue numbers, so they're not really telling the fullest of stories yet.
Yeah, that's always hard when it's so fresh like that.
Yeah, but they're getting there, you know. Okay.
Yeah.
So, are y'all ready to just kick into it, or do y'all have anything else first?
Let's get her done.
No, I'm ready.
Well, our obligatory statement, we have to tell people to like, comment, and subscribe. Remember, since this is a live stream, if you're attending the live stream, you can always do a little commenty thing, and you can always do a little comment thing and talk to us during the stream. I will have it up, and I will be able to see if you make a comment, and I might even mention you on stream if I hear it.
I will also be watching the live chat, so if I see or hear anything interesting, I'll shout it out, I guess. I don't know.
Absolutely. Alrighty, so, like I said, I'm going to begin. I always cover my X-Men stuff, and here we are. I have XMen Blue number 5 this week. So, we left off XMen Blue 4, I talked about maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and the final panel was this team called the Marauders, and they were speculated to be from Jimmy Logan, the Wolverine-esque character on the front. They were suspected to be from his universe, some alternate universe, and sure enough, as the story pans out, they sure are. Jimmy immediately attacks these characters, and everyone just assumes that they know that the name of the team is the Marauders, even though I don't think anyone said it. And it turns into a big bar fight, because they were in a bar. There's a lot of cool shots of action, just each character kind of highlighting their powers and different people attacking one another. Cyclops gets this really good shot off that hits 2 different people. That kind of stuff. All the while, Jean Grey is trying to use psychic bubbles to protect the civilians and get them out of the bar, because now the bar is catching on fire and falling apart and everything. And she decides that she's going to telepathically link up with them and see if she can figure out more about who they are and what the hell they're doing and why they're trying to steal Jimmy and everything. And when she does, she tries to read the mind of their leader. It's Miss Sinister approaches her, which, if y'all watch the 90s cartoon, y'all would know who Mr. Sinister is. He's a traditional X-Men villain, but now he's a lady for some reason. And the two of them have this telepathic little episode. And it's funny, they do a panel by panel where it shows you one panel of action in the bar, and then one that's taking place in Jean Grey's mind. And then one action, and then Jean Grey's mind. Back and forth. Good little art sequence there.
That's cool.
And so the whole while, the scene in Jean Grey's mind, Miss Sinister is giving this big long talk about the multiverse. There's tons of universes, and my people were in this universe, and I was doing all these tests on them. and somehow they all landed in your universe. And she didn't really give us her plan, but sort of led to that she has a plan. So with all the action, the like panel by panel action and everything, Jimmy, the Wolverine character, he doesn't want to be called Wolverine, by the way. Jimmy is about to kill the kind of team leader of the other team. He's got his claws up and he's going to stab her, and then he finally decides, actually, I don't know what I'm doing, and he just hauls ass, like runs away. Well, the Marauders get up and they go and chase her, and then the X-Men are looking around like, oh, maybe we should go chase after them, but Jean Grey is still having her little mental episode, so Cyclops stays behind, and the other three chase after him. When the Marauders catch up to Jimmy, that's the moment that that Jean finishes up the conversation, and obviously Miss Sinister somehow telepathically tells the others like not to attack Jimmy because they're gonna track them down later or something like that. And then Jimmy just kind of wanders off, and the Marauders don't screw with him. They all meet back up, and the X-Men bring Jimmy with them, and it seems like he's becoming part of this team, which is kind of cool because this is another traditional X-Men team, and they now have their own Wolverine. So the resolution to the book was Jimmy's going to be kind of a sixth member of the Blue team. And I'm sorry.
Who is Jimmy? Like, where did he come from? Is he a clone or something? Or
He is Logan's son from a different universe.
Okay.
Yeah. Time travel, shifty space time continuum. Yeah. Timey-wimey.
Everyone loves universe hopping.
Yep. So yeah, the resolution is that Jimmy is kind of going to become this sixth member of the team, and there's still this ominous threat of something that Miss Sinister is doing that's looming over everyone. Yeah.
Cool.
Mostly about fighting, and it's like it was just half the fight and half the conversation in Jean Grey's head. Yeah.
Sweet.
Cool. So the next one that I covered was Old Man Logan. This one was the beginning of a new story, because y'all remember Past Lives ended last time.
Yes.
But they're still going to beat us over the head with that original Old Man Logan story. So the opening panels of this is an old man, and he's talking to this children, and he corrects this kid's grammar, and he tells them about his grand plan, and then the very last panel of speech that he says, oh yeah, the grand plan is that we, as in me, this old man, and you, these tiny little kids, are gonna go kill everyone. Okay? And then it pans over, and it's Logan, and Logan says that he is going to, or he's taking a break, the institute, the school is in the middle of Central Park, and he feels like he's in a cage in the city and everything, so he's out taking a motorcycle bike ride through Canada, and he stops by this old dive that he knows, and he walks in, and they have that panel of his nose, him sniffing, because, Wolverine's super scent kind of thing, and he obviously knows something is off, and he gets a cup of coffee, but as the lady's pouring his cup of coffee, he grabs her arm and says, like, I know something's up, and sure enough, all the people in the bar jump out and they start attacking him. And he doesn't know who they are at first, but then they transform into the Hulk gang. The Hulk gang was all of Bruce Banner's children from the original, future verse of Old Man Logan's time. They're the people who killed his children. So, yeah. But the Hulk gang, who he also killed in that future time period, they're mad because Logan killed their dad, Bruce Banner, in that future time period. And somehow they got back to this time period dimension thing. So more crazy dimension hopping time shenanigans. But yeah. So they have a huge fight. It ends in a humorously disgusting way. One of the Hulk guys throws a burning fry oil thing at Logan, and it just like sears him and stuff. But he's still swinging because he's Logan. So he kills like one or two more of them that way, and one of them runs away. And he runs off and he meets up with the old man from the beginning, and he says something to the effect of like, "Oh, all the other guys they wanted to go after Logan for revenge." The old man gets really angry, and what happens when he gets angry? He also turns into a Hulk, and he is that character on the front of the cover. He's that Hulk character right there. He beats the crap out of this guy who ran away from Logan and said, "Y'all shouldn't have done this. Y'all are compromising everything." Grr, mad anger, all that stuff. And so we've got this just looming threat of everything. The final panels are Logan getting up, and he's talking about, "Okay, I'm going to go hunt these guys down, and they shall feel my wrath." So yeah, pretty straightforward introduction to a new story.
The Hulk guys, are they like as strong as the Hulk? Like they have the same healing factor and everything? So for him to be killing him is really, really impressive.
So, from what I am beginning to understand and this goes into my next book actually as well. From what I'm beginning to understand, it sounds like certain people are better at being the Hulk than other people. And what I mean by that is, he can kill these guys who are just their random Hulk gang people, and stuff. In my next book, we actually meet Amadeus Cho, who's the current, like, totally awesome Hulk. Mm-hmm. And one of the comments that they make is, he doesn't deserve it the way that Bruce did. He'll never be as powerful as Bruce was. So what I'm beginning to kind of think is that Bruce Banner was just really good at being a big, green, angry rage monster. So I don't really know how to answer your question exactly, but that's what the inclination I'm getting is that these guys, they're worse at being Hulk. They're not as powerful as he was. Maybe they have the potential to be. They just don't know how or something.
Perhaps.
I don't know. So yeah. Segue into Weapon X. This is the prelude to a little crossover they're doing called Weapons of Mutant Destruction. Something that the last issue of this and the last issue of Totally Awesome Hulk led into. The opening panels are Amadeus Cho, the current Hulk. He's called Totally Awesome Hulk. He is discussing this elaborate plan. He says that Warpath and Lady Deathstrike, the two people on the right upper corner of the cover, the two of them are captured and they're being held in this facility, and these are all the people in the facility, and we're going to go and attack them. He lays out this really detailed plan on the first couple pages, and then they initiate the plan. They are going to skydive down onto this oil rig, and that's where everything is going down. They're going to work their way into the lab. They're going to free their buddies. They might kill some bad guys in the process, and then they're going to get out. So they, sure enough, they skydive down, and as they're skydiving down, they notice that there are these birds in the air that are actually some of the like cyborg robots that these people are making. And so they're fighting with birds, literally for a page or two. They're fighting with birds.
Dear God.
Yes. And then they land on the platform, and Amadeus thinks he's tough shit, so he's beating up all these robots, but he's not doing a very good job at it. And that's whenever the comment about, like, oh, he's... there's this shadowy figure that's watching them from, like, security cameras, but he's not on the oil rig. It's a shadowy figure, and he's been appearing all the time. He appears this time, and he says, like, oh, he'll never be worthy of, like, those powers that he has. So yeah, everybody's noticing, like, Amadeus is beating up these cyborg robot things that are protecting the oil rig, but he's not doing a very good job at it. So Sabretooth decides he's going to make Amadeus even angrier, because that's how Hulks usually get more powerful. So Sabretooth shoots Amadeus in the face a few times.
Hell yeah.
You want to know the
Oh,
best part?
jeez.
You want to know the best part is that it worked. Amadeus gets mad and starts wrecking the robots. He heals faster and all that kind of stuff. There's a big chunk of this book that's just carnage. It's just all of the Weapon X guys and Hulk destroying these cyborg robot things. After you get all of that, you get into this point where they do wind up rescuing Warpath and Lady Deathstrike, and Warpath and Lady Deathstrike running around naked because they were in these medical tubes. They join in the fun and they wreck up all these robots. And Deathstrike runs off, and she finds the scientists that were working on the platform that were actually like stealing their DNA and their powers and stuff, and they're the ones making these cyborgs that are really difficult for these Weapon X heroes to defeat. Well, Lady Deathstrike basically is monologuing a little, and she's about to kill these scientists, even though they're just kind of doing their job. So Amadeus Cho steps in and stops them. You get this, like, Lady Deathstrike's really bad, Hulk is really good kind of feel, and he convinces her not to do it, but then the shadowy figure from afar says, all right, that's enough, and he blows up the room that they're all in. Well, everybody, all our heroes are safe because they all have healing factors and they're superpowered and everything, but it kills the scientists. So it's kind of that somber moment where, the hero, Hulk, the good guy, saved everybody just for the bad guys to kill the other bad guys. The very final panels are them discussing, like the bad guys, the shadowy figure discussing, and it's revealed that the bad guy is Reverend Stryker, is what they call him. Stryker has always been the guy who is known that, like, Wolverine was, like, who made Wolverine, kind of. But I've never heard of him called Reverend Stryker. He's kind of wearing a suit and holding a Bible and everything, so I don't know.
Ooh.
But that's a big reveal, so.
Oh, when you said Reverend Stryker, I was thinking of the guy from Luke Cage. No, never mind.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's totally backwards.
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
All right, I got one more book to cover real quick, and that is Generation X. Y'all know I have a special place in my heart for this one.
Yay!
So, this one begins with Nature Girl, who's that one with the antlers, if y'all remember from the other covers. We haven't really seen a whole lot from her, but she's hanging out. The school is in Central Park. So she's actually hanging out at the Central Park Zoo, as in one of the exhibits, hanging out with, like, the big seals and stuff.
Cool.
And it gives some of the minor characters, her and I Guy and the new guy Nathaniel, have this little moment where they get to talk. But kind of the big thing is that one of the trees tells her that someone was being attacked. Okay, so they go and they figure out where this person who was attacked was, and it was one of their fellow mutants from the school. So they grab the person, they head back to the school real quick. We get this one quick page of Roxy. She's another character. She's that one that she's like kind of bluish, purplish, and she has the stone body. Her asking to be on like a different team because Jubilee's team is just a bunch of misfits and they'll never be real X-Men. When she wants to be a fighter, she wants to be in the action. And they kind of tell her like, no, y'all have your place for a reason. Don't ask questions, just kind of go with it. So then she marches back into the university, I keep saying university, institute. She marches back into the institute around the same time that the others get back with the mutant from the school. His name is Face. If you've never seen Face before, he doesn't have a face. He has this like...
Right? It's a little on the nose, isn't it?
He's got this big plate thing on his face, and he can't see or hear or anything. So whenever they're trying to figure out what happened to them, somebody asks Quentin, well, why don't you just read his mind and figure out what happened? And Quentin's like, well, he's deaf, dumb, blind, like, I wouldn't be getting anything but just...
Pinball?
Yeah, like, there's nothing. He doesn't really have senses the way you and I do. But then Quentin brings up that the new guy, Nathaniel, has this power that when he touches someone, he gets an overview of all of their memories from sort of like a third-person perspective. And if you read the book, you'll see what I mean, because every time that he does it, it's this really cool montage-y panel that shows you everything. And he does it a little bit later in this book. But Nathaniel's like, no, I'm not going to use my powers just to, like, infiltrate somebody's mind. He runs off kind of angry and everything. The staff is talking about the whole event. They're kind of worried, so they put a curfew on the school. Everybody has to be home, yada yada. And it goes back to Nathaniel, the new kid with the third person overview memory powers thing, and he's helping out somebody. He's talking to the kid Morph. He's talking to him a little bit, and they have that conversation, well, if you don't use your powers and someone else gets hurt, was it your fault? So he's kind of, and Morph isn't pulling, like, he's not twisting his arm or anything, but Nathaniel kind of comes to that realization on his own. Cool little character growth, right? So Nathaniel does go back into the room, and he does use his power to see everything that Morph had experienced, and he doesn't just get the little bit about Face being attacked. He gets Face's entire life, and it's really bad. It's one of those things that he's a mutant that was experimented on and all this kind of stuff. So the team, he tells the team kind of what happened, and then somebody mentions, okay, well, I'm going to go tell Professor Kitty Pryde and get them on top of it. But then Roxy, remember from earlier, she was mad that she was on this team. She's like, no, don't go tell them. I want to deal with this. And then Nathaniel backs her up. He's like, I just witnessed all this stuff. Now I'm part of it. I need to be part of it. So everybody can... And Quentin's willing to, like, go cause trouble.
Yeah.
So everybody kind of gets in on it. And there's one or two people who are pretty reluctant to go. And the last panel is them sneaking out of the school. And they're all dressed in old members of the X-Men's, like, big baggy uniforms.
Oh, no.
So they're a bunch of kids sneaking out of school to go do the big boy's job. I don't know. So
that'll be cool.
I love it. It's
cute.
This book is great. The team is great, and it's going places. You see where I was talking about earlier, how all of my stuff, it's building up the stories, or like they're finally establishing. Like, it's funny, the 3 team books that I have, and all 3 of them, they're like, we finally have the team. Let's go on an adventure.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. So, I don't know. But that's all I got. So, I think we are going to go ahead and jump over to you, Kelly.
Okie
Our resident Deadpool expert.
I'm sharing a couple of them, but yeah, definitely. I love me my Deadpool.
So, what happened in Deadpool 32? We had number 30 where he killed Coulson last week.
Right. And so
or
building off...
31. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, 31. So 31 was kind of a prequel to the whole Hydra takeover, explaining all that other good stuff. And basically what ended up happening, this one, it jumps to present day, but it begins with him reflecting once again on how he's realized what he's done has kind of ended up led into letting Hydra take over the entire everything. And basically, he's very essentially he's unhappy that he's realizing now that he's become a Hydra agent, and it's to the point where he wakes up in his apartment, I'm assuming, and he's taking care of a young girl named Ellie. They're prefacing it, making it sound like they've recently moved. He takes her to a school that she's really not happy with. He warns her, don't do what I do, which essentially I'm assuming she's fighting a lot. And basically, when he's not taking care of her and trying to tell her, don't do what I do, I'm a terrible example, like, please talk to a teacher instead, when he's not there trying to control her, he's over at the Hydra base, and I guess his current missions right now is he's just literally the hitman. So anybody that's left still fighting Hydra, he's out there trying to catch them. So basically, initially though, he heads over to Hydra to try to talk to Captain America about something. I'm not quite sure what. But they just say he's in a meeting right now, so he's not going to talk to you. And one of the jokes that I really liked about in this issue is, since they've established he's in Hydra, but he's still Deadpool. So whenever he wants to leave or initiate a conversation, they're like, "Hail Hydra!" And he refuses to say "Hail Hydra." He'll say "Kale Hydra" or "Fail Hydra" or anything other than the actual "Hail Hydra,"
Right.
which is one thing I really like about it. Anyways, so basically what he ends up doing is he's got a sense, Deadpool has a sense that he knows that they're not like really going to scatter. They're probably all holed up in one central location. So while he's heading around trying to like look for places where they might be hiding, like old hiding places that he might have tried to look in, he ends up bumping into Speedball, which, I'll be honest, made me think of like drugs. I don't know why, but I've never heard of Speedball before. But I guess basically Deadpool ends up in a fight with him, trying to take him down.
From the 90s.
Okay, because literally when he was in a battle with him, like when he's trying to finish him off, in the middle of the fight, Deadpool, he points a gun at him and he says, "This is the first time since the Stan Lee Spidey drug issue that anyone at Marvel has been allowed to shoot a speedball," and which I thought was kind of funny. I was like, "Oh, there's another one," and I love it when we reference like really old books and new books and all that other fun stuff. So basically, I won't spoil it all, but Deadpool, he ends up taking Speedball in, so he ends up getting captured. And he kind of just ends up laying in wait. Deadpool, he phrases it, "When you have patience plus time, you can accomplish anything." So he's hiding in bushes, just hanging out, waiting to see if there's any kind of movement. And he ends up catching sight of, oh, what was his name? What was his name? Super fast guy, but not the Flash. Obviously not the Flash.
Quicksilver?
Quicksilver, yes! So he catches Quicksilver, like, zipping by real quick, and he's like, "Oh, that has to be Quicksilver." And he tracks him down, and he sees that Quicksilver is essentially become, like, this provisions deliverer for the entire gang that's hiding out.
Yeah.
So Deadpool has found out that they're hiding out in the desert. He knows exactly where they are. But when he goes into Hydra, which Kale Hydra, whatever, when he goes in there to tell them or report on where he thinks that they're all hiding in their secret base, basically what ends up happening is he gets a text message on his phone saying that, "Hey, you have to report immediately to school. Ellie has been in trouble and gotten in another fight." And when he was in the middle of talking to this Hydra agent, he's like, "Well, what did you find? Like, what do you have to report?" And he's like, "Nothing. Don't worry about it. They're not in the desert." So then they cross the desert out as, like, a location that they might be hiding. So you could tell that Deadpool, like, he's clearly not excited about what he's doing.
Yeah, he's
and
conflicted.
The last page, it just shows him, like, holding the principal by his tie. So I can only wait for Deadpool to be yelling at a principal.
I know, right?
He's still in costume?
Yes, still like which is the best part, too. So I like that. I like the duality of it. I love Deadpool when, you know, like, he makes mistakes and he realizes it, and even though he knows he's kind of committed to Cap, like, he is not excited about Hydra.
Yeah, he's obviously conflicted, it sounds.
Yeah.
Why is he... Kelly, do you know why he's even working for Cap in the first place?
Well, they explained, so basically from what I got from the previous issue, he was basically talking about how when he grew up, he always looked up to Captain America, and when Captain first invited him to join the group, Captain America said, like, "This will be the best chapter of your life, but also one of the most trying chapters of your life." And that's the extent of what I know. So I didn't, maybe I missed an issue where he was invited in.
He said something to the effect of, like, last week you said he said something to the effect of, that this will be one of those times that you just have to kind of believe what I'm saying and just go with me.
Yes. Because Deadpool was of the opinion, if you're on, no one ever has been on the other side of Captain and been right. So like Deadpool was operating off of that. I trust you, bro.
In Civil War,
Yeah.
he worked for the government to capture superheroes. So I guess
And
now he wants
that's
to side with Cap.
and so I'm not quite sure about that continuity with it or not,
Yeah, yeah.
but that's
What
they explained in the
what
comic.
Devin's referencing is in Civil War, Deadpool was helping catch people that anti-registration people, but Captain was one of the anti-registration. What Kelly said was that Deadpool realizes no one has ever been on the other side of Captain America and been right. He admits that he was on the wrong side last time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so I'm sure that was like one of, and because that was so long ago, that like last week's issue, because it was so far in the past, it's like that might have been one of the first times when he was like, oh man, I will never put a blanket statement of this person is good or this person is bad ever again.
Yeah.
Like that might have been a significant moment for him where he realized, oh crap, I can't do that anymore.
All right. Ready to move on to the next one?
Yes, good old Gwenpool. So we mentioned earlier on with how much comics love their dimension traveling and going through timey-wimey things and all this other good stuff. So this one, it picks up with literally Gwenpool starting. She's working in a movie theater now. The previous issue, she was really enamored still with getting back, like with getting into a reality with like superheroes. She doesn't even seem to remember that she was a superhero or even in some kind of universe that had superheroes.
Yeah.
So that one, she went full. All right, I'm regular life. So now she's starting her life. She's working at a movie theater, essentially, just doing her thing. And basically, she just can't shake the feeling that something's wrong. She feels like there's something structured about her life that she can't quite, get away from. And as you read a few more pages on, the structure, the thing that's bothering her, she's still being a Deadpool comic. She's breaking the fourth wall. She's like, oh, I see like my narration bubbles, and oh, there's the title over there. I'm in a comic. I know I'm in a comic, but no one else will address me with this. No one else will go, yes, Gwenpool, you're in a comic. So when she decides eventually that she can't handle this feeling that she can't shake, even after her father rewards her with tickets to the New York Comic Con that she's always wanted to go, but she wasn't able to get tickets for it. Her father rewards her with these tickets, and she's like, wow, I've got a job. My dad's happy with me now, but this still feels wrong. Like I can't not address this anymore. So she decides in one panel, she's like, I'm going to try to touch this narration bubble of whatever I'm thinking. And she reaches up to touch it, and it's too tiny. So naturally, she's like, well, let's do a stream of consciousness thoughts to make this really, really big bubble so that I'll be able to touch it. So she has this long stream of consciousness. I tried to read some of it. It literally makes no sense at all. Basically, it starts off with like, I'm just going to keep thinking, don't stop thinking. And then she's like trying to spell hippopotamus. It's a fun one. If you end up getting it and reading it, it's pretty entertaining to read the whole thing. And basically, it gets so big because she closes her eyes when she's doing it that when she opens her eyes, it's gotten so big that it actually pushes her out of the window. And so she falls out of her 2-story window into the street, and it goes from like, oh, this is fun fourth wall breaking to now she wakes up in a hospital and she's under suicide watch because they think that she's suicidal now. She wakes up in the hospital. She like, everybody's like, no, you can't leave. We have to watch you now. And her brother is sitting on the side of the bed with her, and he's like, oh, we can't let you out, but here, I brought you your sketchbook, because I know how much you like to sketch and draw and all that other good stuff. So when he hands her the sketchbook, she goes, oh, thank you. And when she opens it, by the time she's opened it, he's already out the door, and pages of her sketchbook have been ripped out. So I still am of the opinion that her brother knows what's going on. He's trying to stop her from like thinking, because she's always drawing superheroes, and he ripped all of her superhero drawings out.
Yeah.
And then things take a very weird, strange turn from there, because once she's like, okay, he's ripping out like pictures of my drawings, there's something wrong here. And while she's laying in her hospital bed, it goes full Gwenpool. It gets full wall breaky. She takes like the pencil that she normally draws with, and she breaks through the panel beneath her. And then the panel underneath, she's looking up and like, I can do it. I broke it. Like, you can get through the panels.
Yeah.
So then it starts doing some stuff where she takes the pencil and she cracks away the side of a panel and she's like, oh, hi, Gwen. And the other, oh, hi, Gwen. So then it shows, like those infinite mirrors, like when you get 2 mirrors and you see like 100 of you.
Yeah.
It does that. And it's like Gwen's like, oh no, this is nuts. And then Gwen number 2 is like, I don't think I can handle this. And Gwen number 3 is like, man, I'm gonna get sick. Like, so it goes that way. Yeah. And then once that ends up happening, I'm not quite sure how, but basically she ends up hanging from the corner of like a panel into complete whiteness. Then she lets go, and it literally just shows her walking on top of a bunch of panels.
Yeah.
And all she does is say something like, oh, geez, what have I done now? And that's literally how it ends.
Yeah, that's funny.
So she's literally burst off of the page is where Gwenpool is gone right now.
It's funny. The cover shows a lot of that. The cover shows a lot of fun stuff. And no, yeah, that's good stuff.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so that one looks it's super like this issue of Gwenpool. Like if you're into the whole fourth wall breaking stuff, this is where all of the cool art is, and it's nice to see her interact with herself.
Are they all
I guess
like
the best way to put it.
Are all the issues of Gwenpool like that? Devin asked.
Where she like steps out and like actually literally breaks through the no. Every now and then she'll interact with the panel and then like she'll kind of like brush it off really easy. But I think because she's in this universe, she got pulled back to her regular universe. I think she forgot she was in a comic book.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is her like rediscovering that she's back in a comic book. And since you weren't here last week, Devin, this issue and the previous issue, since she has been pulled back into the regular universe, every single speech bubble has been pink, which is normally only her speech bubbles, but regardless of who's talking or thinking, they have all been pink.
Aww.
So this could be like an all in her head thing, I don't know, but like there's something funky going on.
Okay, sweet.
Well, cool. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and let Devin take the floor. Devin, you've got all new Guardians, right?
Yes.
Yay!
Okay, so it's been a long time. Like I don't think I've talked about Guardians since our first podcast.
Oh yeah.
So, really brief recap of issue 2.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
Okay, well, in issue 1, they decided to break into the collector's place to steal a thing.
Yes.
Yes.
In issue 2, they steal the thing and escape. And then right when they're escaping, the collector's like, hey, not so fast. And he's about to kill them. I didn't know this, but the collector is like actually an Eternal. Like he's an Eternal of the universe. He's actually really powerful. I didn't know that. Anyway. So issue 3, if you can't tell by the cover, it's a Gamora issue. So the first, 4 or 5 pages are a Gamora backstory. She was raised and trained by Thanos to be like the most powerful fighter or whatever.
Yeah, some sort of killer, super duper assassin.
Yeah, basically. She's a badass trained by Thanos himself. She had a chance to kill Thanos. She decided not to kill Thanos. So that's just the first 4 or 5 pages. Gamora backstory is pretty cool. The rest of it is a dream that Gamora is having. She says, oh, look, I'm back in this dream again. Basically, she's wandering through some desert. She meets an old lady who guides her around the desert. There's a bunch of people in the deserts fighting. She's like, oh, how come? And each person in the desert's like fighting a copy of themselves. I don't know, it's just kind of trippy, a dream she's having.
Fighting yourself, that's a dream.
Yeah, I guess, but like it's a bunch of people she knows fighting themselves in the desert. The old lady just takes her here and there, showing her around this desert. The lady eventually tells them that they're trapped in some universe that's inside of a stone, and it shows it. And the stone that they're in looks like the egg that they stole from the collector.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that the egg, and the reason they stole from the collector was because another Eternal told them to steal from the collector.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking there's a universe in the egg that part of Gamora's consciousness is still stuck in it. Is what the old lady in the dream tells her is that, people, when they enter the stone, part of them never actually leaves.
Yeah.
So either she meant that literally or figuratively, I don't know. But then the old lady takes off her hood and it actually is Gamora.
Yeah, I saw that coming.
Yeah, and her eyes were gone, and Gamora said, in order to realize the truth, I had to pluck out my own eyes or something. It was kind of weird.
That's weird. I did not see that coming.
Yeah. She was wearing a bandage over her eyes, and was like, "Oh, of course you had to cover your eyes to see the truth." I was like, "No, it's much more than that, I'm afraid."
And then you see your eyes go down.
It was.
Okay.
And then Gamora wakes up from the dream, and Rocket Raccoon is there, being Rocket Raccoon. Oh, we gotta blow up the thing with the gun,
Okay.
Yeah, so it was just a weird Gamora issue, backstory than a dream she's been having, and there's something weird about this egg. I think there's another universe in it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Which would maybe explain why the collector has it at all.
Yeah, it's probably just a lot of good symbols and symbolism and all that junk, and I'm sure you'll find out more as it goes on.
Oh yeah.
Once again, it's still only issue 3.
Yep.
They don't really have to introduce you to the characters that much, but maybe a little.
Yeah, everybody kind of knows who the Guardians are, more or less. But Gamora is still really cool. She's my favorite of the Guardians so far.
Well, that's cool. That's good.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay. I already brought Matt up to this. So Kelly, some really, really short backstory, issues 1 through 7. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanos has a son named Thane, okay?
Okay.
Thanos is sick and dying, okay?
Okay.
His son decides to capitalize on this opportunity by organizing a coalition of other cosmically, super powerful guys to kill Daddy. Because Daddy is a butthole, right? So the whole time he's been manipulated by Lady Death. Okay, that's basically what you need to know.
Okay.
Wait, sorry, one more thing. In issue 6 or 7, Thane ends up gaining access to the Phoenix Force.
Thane is his son.
Yeah.
And that's him at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay,
so Thane, the son of Thanos, has the Phoenix Force, and he is determined to kill his dad. Okay. What ends up happening is, instead of just going to kill Dad, he ends up just, beating the crap out of him and exiling him, and says, "Oh, killing him would be a mercy. We'll let him live like a dog and die of old age or whatever." Yeah. So, okay. Let's jump to issue 8 now.
Okay.
Thane is now going from planet to planet, just blowing stuff up.
Fun.
Literally just the Phoenix Force doing what it does best, I suppose, which is destroying whatever it can. So the people who were working with Thane to kill Thanos instead go to Thanos for help to kill Thane. So they kind of did a complete 180 there. Thanos, still sick and dying, can't do much, but he knows of a way to get his power back. He said when he was in possession of the Infinity Gems a while back, he was consciously aware of the presence of these 3 witches who live out at the edge of the universe. If he can make his way to them, he could convince them to give him his power back if he sells them his soul. So they get on the ship and pilot it out to the edge of the universe.
Uh-huh.
They come really near to a black hole. Thanos is like, yes, that's where it is. If we go through the black hole on the other side, we'll meet the Witches of Fate, or whatever they're called. So Thanos and one of the other guys on the team jump through the black hole, and things get really trippy. Like the panels get all warped, and the narration bubbles get all stretched out, and
Oh, cool.
like the comic book is going through the black hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. And when they come out of the black hole, like the narration, the text is upside down and backwards, so it's a real pain to read.
No, yeah.
And it's cool, reality is getting twisted and distorted. So it's pretty fun. So
whoever is writing Thanos is like being really interesting, because there's that, and then the issue before this there was like no writing.
Yeah. The issue before had like 2 lines of dialogue. It was just telling the story with pictures.
Okay.
And
So
it
yeah.
was
So after they go through the black hole, sorry.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So they go through the black hole. Things are twisted and warped, and the witches are there. Thanos was right, and they say, "Hi, Thanos," and that's kind of
That's how it ends. Okay.
Yeah.
Are the witches, like you said, they're like the witches of fates? Are they supposed to be the fates like the Greek fates, or you're not sure?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of if it's not them, that's clearly who they're based on.
Yeah. Okay. That I don't know. I just thought sounded like it.
Think about it. I'm not sure. I mean, like
You'll probably learn more later.
Yeah. I mean, but like Hercules and all of the Greek gods, they exist in Marvel, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I mean, I don't think you'd have to go to the edge of the universe and a weird cosmic black hole thing to find Greek deities, because they're already there on Earth, right? So I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see. Cool. Well, moving right along, we've got our final book, the big old crossover Secret Empire for the summer.
Yay!
Devin, what you got?
Okay, so, Punisher is working for Captain America.
Okay.
He is tasked with hunting down Black Widow, which is no easy task, because Black Widow is a super awesome ninja spy who's good at moving in the shadows. So Punisher is just tracking down Black Widow. Remember, Black Widow is traveling with Amadeus and Miles and a bunch of the other younger superheroes. Whereas Tony and everybody is trying to get the cube so they could cure Captain America. Black Widow and the younger Avengers they're going to go kill the son of a bitch, right?
Right.
Yeah, or that they're trying. So that's kind of what they're off doing. So you go over to Tony and his squad. Tony got intelligence that Ultron is back on Earth just before just before the shield, just before the shield that trapped Captain and Marvel and everybody else.
The bubble.
Yeah, just before the bubble went up, Ultron got back to Earth. He's hiding out in Alaska, making a giant robot army of basically Ultron clones.
Yeah, Ultron bots.
Yeah, so that's a thing they're going to have to deal with. So,
Lord.
So they also have intel that Ultron has a cube shard. And
Okay.
so they have to break into Ultron's compound full of little mini Ultron bots to steal the shard. So they want to do a stealthy mission. They send in Ant-Man, because he could sneak through or whatever.
Yeah.
And while he's sneaking through, he runs into the Black Ant. This is a Ant-Man bad guy. Just another guy.
Just another Ant-Man bad guy.
Yeah.
He also can get really small.
Yeah, and so they're looking for the cube too. Captain wants the cubes to keep him out of Tony's hands. Tony wants a cube so he could fix Captain. So they start fighting, which, fucks up the whole stealth mission. So, Tony and his squad go in, and Cap and his squad go in, and everybody just fighting each other.
Oh, cool. So there's actually a good little bit of fighting in this one?
Yes, yeah, it was pretty
Yay!
cool. Captain and Tony come face to face. which is cool. Looks like they're about to throw down, and then there's a big explosion. Everybody gets knocked prone, and then Ultron comes in. He's like, "Oh, come on, guys! I thought we were better than this." So Ultron's kind of trolling everybody. He puts everybody in these mystical handcuffs they can't break, and sits them all down at the dinner table to sit down and talk things out like friends.
Okay.
Yes. Apparently, Hank Pym is actually trying to control Ultron right now. Ultron is kind of like Two-Faced right now. So, like, Hank Pym is, like, suppressing the Ultron within him and, you know, trying to hang on to his humanity. And he's also trying to force, you know, Captain's team and Tony's team to get along, which isn't going to happen. Well, what Tony eventually does is he taunts Ultron into just slamming the table, throwing everybody around. He pisses them off.
Yeah.
Which breaks everybody's shackles, and they start fighting again, which is cool. Just another fist fight in Ultron's mansion. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Eventually, Ultron has hold of Tony Stark. He's about to kill him. And well, he's like about to like squeeze him.
Yeah. I thought Tony was dead.
Maybe he was about to crush the arm or whatever. But yeah, it's weird. It's like the Iron Man arm with an AI head poking out of it.
Okay.
It's kind of weird.
Is it that blue glowy
Yes.
Tony? Okay, yeah. It's like it's an artificial intelligence that's a construct of all of Tony's ideas, or
Yeah, and it can still pilot the suit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, still Iron Man. It's weird. It's like you might as well not even be dead. I mean, what's the point?
yeah. Just
Anyway, so
got my opinions.
yeah. So Ant-Man talks them out of killing Tony Stark. They make peace with Ultron. Ultron's alright, fine. I won't use my army to invade you guys. It'll be cool. I'll just chill here in Alaska with my army, whatever. And he ends up giving Tony's team a shard. He just gives it to Tony, and they get the hell out. It's kind of weird.
It is.
So back at like UN headquarters or wherever, they're somewhere in New York. Namor comes out of the ocean and gives. Well, that happened in was it issue? In issue 3, Hydra blew up an Atlantean temple because they thought they had a shard, and it ends up at the last minute Namor had hidden the shard in some other temple to keep it out of Captain America's hands. So Captain was like, okay, you want to do it like that, just blow up the temple, which was like the most holy place for the Atlanteans. Right. It was a big deal.
My gosh.
So now Namor just gives Captain America the shard as a way to say, just leave me and my people out of this conflict. He wants to protect his people. He's the king of Atlantis and doesn't want any more of his people to die for Captain America or Tony Stark. So he just gives him the shard.
Oh man.
And like the last two panels, one of Captain America's right-hand man said like, so is it a good idea that we just let Captain get away with one of the shards? And Captain says, oh, it's okay. We have someone on the inside. So one of the people working closely with Captain. So who is it? It's like Hercules, Ant-Man.
There's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, there's 4 or 5 people working in Iron Man's little
clique.
Yeah, his little entourage.
Okay.
Hawkeye and Black Widow and all of them even. Huh?
Yeah. So one of them is a Hydra insider. We don't know yet.
Okay.
Oh man.
So that's what's going on there.
Hail Hydra.
Hail Hydra. Yeah, but so
Fail
now
Hydra.
each party has a shard now.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there, Kelly.
Oh, and apparently, in this issue, it hinted that for Tony to fix Captain America, they don't need to reassemble the entire cube. They just need to get enough cubes.
like 50% of it'll do.
Something like that, yeah.
We just need to fix most of him, and the rest will just
Much
come
like a
with
company, we need to own slightly more than half.
So something like that. They need some cute.
Yeah.
elements.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
Oh.
All right. Well, good deal. I think that wraps it up for us this time. Cool. So our standard question that we always ask, which book did somebody else cover that you guys would be, which one would you be interested in reading if you had to read something somebody else read?
So
I asked that very horribly, but I think y'all know
It's
it.
okay. So for me, it's a toss-up. Weapon X sounded really, really cool.
Okay.
Which is cool because usually I don't care too much about the X-Men or what's going on with the X-Men.
Okay.
But Weapon X sounded really cool. Then Gwenpool just seemed like it was a lot of fun. So.
How about
It always
you?
is. Yeah, that was always
action
silly.
sequences are just fun silliness, you know?
How about you,
I'm seriously getting into what the Academy one.
The one with all the misfits, the Generation X?
Yes, Generation X. Yes.
Good. I'm glad.
I'm seriously gonna start reading those. I need to start picking up with those.
Yeah, my passion for it must just be rubbing off on you. I must be talking
Yeah,
better about it because I like it.
What got me in it was when you're like, no, they're like putting on the old costume.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're leaving now. They're literally putting on their big boy pants.
Guy is
they're
wearing
going.
the big blue jumpsuit with the yellow belts that Cyclops wore in the 90s.
Oh, God.
Yes.
And then, somebody... I think Nathaniel was wearing Cyclops' big jacket from the 2000s that always looked too big for Cyclops, and it's way too big for him. It's just, it's a riot.
So between that and then Secret Empire, just because of how much that's literally twisting in with Deadpool right now.
Yeah.
And because it's still only on issue 4, both of them. Because what issue are you on, Matt?
Of which one?
I just forgot the name again. Generation X.
It's issue 3.
Yeah, so you're on 3, and then Secret Empire here is on 4. So between, I don't think I have to pick one. I think I'm going to choose both.
Yeah. A couple of my books, a couple of the X-Men books are about to start crossing over with Secret Empire. Which is really cool because none of the X-Men titles have tied in at all yet.
Yeah, I know.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, I think Blue is gonna tie in. I don't know about the others.
So what about you?
I'm going to read Secret Empire. I'm gonna catch up on that one. But if I had to pick another one, then as much as it kind of... And don't crucify me for all the things I'm about to say. So as much as it kind of pains me is Deadpool. I have never been a Deadpool fan. And it might just be my anti-conformist in me.
There you go.
But he's always been that character that people jump to because he's zany and wacky and he jumps off the panels and breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah.
So people think they're an anti-conformist because they like Deadpool.
Yeah.
So then he becomes overly popular, and I despise that almost forced popularity.
Don't forget the dick jokes.
Yeah, and the wiener jokes.
So I can understand that a lot.
Yeah. But
I was worried.
I'm sorry.
You go ahead.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say I was worried when because I really didn't get into Deadpool until his movie came out.
Yeah.
And I was worried that when I was enamored with the whole thing, and I was worried that once because I had committed to read all these different Deadpool things, I was worried that I would it would lose its charm or something to that effect. I'd get tired of it all. But I like how whether it's Gwenpool, Deadpool, or Deadpool versus Punisher, it's a good mixture of seriousness and this weird slapstick humor.
And don't get me wrong, I enjoy the slapstick humor and the fourth wall crap and all of that. But what I'm really catching on to is that is not all that this character is. And, like, the sparks of this interest that I have came up last time when you were talking about, like, his actual internal, like, okay, I'm going to do what Captain America says, even though it sounds like the wrong thing. And now this time he's starting to have those doubts and things. And, like, that's all good development and stuff.
They explore that a lot in the early issues of Spider-Man and Deadpool, too.
Yeah.
But
like,
yeah, that
wants
was another
to be
one.
a better person, he just doesn't know how.
Exactly, but the image that Deadpool has been given over the years doesn't really make me think that, but hearing about it does. Now, like, I probably won't read Gwenpool because it sounds like it is jumping over the end with the silly stuff, which I'm fine with, and I probably enjoy, but I'd rather spend my time reading something with development. And and Deadpool sounds like it had that, and that's why I would definitely like reading it. Yeah. Not to mention it ties in with all the Secret Empire stuff, which I'm interested in.
Yeah. I like the idea of Deadpool being a foster dad. It is so cute.
That's pretty funny.
So
yeah, that's one thing. That's a very common thread. Like, no matter what Deadpool thing I'm reading, if he's not actually in charge of a child, which, first of all, is kind of horrifying that he manages to do that.
Yeah.
If he's not actually in charge of a child, he always seems to be, like, attached very closely to another family. And I guess that's another way for him to somewhat stay grounded with, like, regular humans. Yeah. Like when the Doctor always has to have, his buddy. Like, it's like, you gotta have something. Otherwise, what's the point?
That makes sense.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for us mostly. Bear with us with all the video, no video, sound editing problems, all that kind of stuff. We are working on it, and the interface will probably continue to change.
And the lack of Travis.
And sorry about Travis not being here. He will probably be back next week. We're gonna be this way. We all have to figure out how our schedules work. But eventually, we're gonna get this down, and we're gonna be like super cool and professional about it.
And regular and like reliable and here.
But for the most part, it seems like we're locking down this like kind of 5 p.m. Eastern time slot that we've got every Thursday afternoon. So yeah. All right. Well, like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Please, you don't have to, but if you feel like it, we're having fun. I hope you have fun. Tell us, which of the books did we read that you would probably want to read? Or, if you didn't like any of the stuff we read, what book should we add? What book should we read? If we get these comments, then I will try and go and buy the books that you guys tell me to read, and I will read them.
They're going to tell us to go read Batman.
Yeah.
Or I'll at least go look at the cover.
Yeah, I will at least look at the cover and read a synopsis. No. All right. But yeah, so I think that draws us to another close. Thank you for watching.
Peace.
And we'll see y'all later.